around. It didn't really get good reviews, but we have a lot of nostalgia for it, Amen and I. And I'm Christo. I will be commentating alongside Amen's run. Thing is, this game has a two-player co-op story mode also, so it would also be nice in the near future to do a few two-player co-op speedruns, but in any case, this one is one player any percent, and there, as you've seen, there are already a few optimizations that can be done, namely in the options with increasing the lives and lowering the difficulty to ensure that, because dying takes a few seconds off each time, and ensuring that you die less makes the run, I think, even almost half a minute or something like that faster, depending on how often you die in the run. Then the next thing is character choice is quite important, but I'll go into that in a bit, and I guess we could already start the run if you're fine.
The counter?
3, 2, 1, go. Okay, so yeah, as promised, why is the character Sister Magpie? First of all, she has the highest weapon DPS, and second of all, she has together with a few other characters, the highest movement speed in the game. So these are pretty much the most important stats you can have in the character for to run this game. She has a downside with her special attack, which releases a few scatters bombs around the place. It's not very good, it's RNG dependent, it's pretty much one of the only things in the game that's RNG dependent. But yeah, it is what it is. So we're starting off this first level, it's called Desert, and the main goal of this level is to collect 3 key items, as you can see below the character sheet. These green maggots or whatever they are, I'm not really sure, I don't remember the lore there. Oops, unfortunate death there. He has to collect 3 out of 8, and of course he has already optimized the route in such a way that he gets the 3 fastest, and then he can just go straight to the exit. But just before the exit there is also another small skip where he tries to finish through here, which saves about 5 seconds then also. Yeah, and I guess the most dangerous thing in that level was looking out for those rolling boulders, because if one catches you, you might easily be one-shot by it. Then the next level is Oasis, so we're going on with this desert theme there for a bit. Starting off, I guess I could say that there is actually would actually be a neat skip in this level, which a similar one will be done later on in the run, where you can skip all this weird stuff that you have to do now. This guy here looks a little bit different than the other enemies. That's Chad. That's the main antagonist of the game. And here you have to provoke him with the special attack, for example, to fly against this totem here. So you can shoot it to topple it over, so you can use it as a bridge. It's actually quite obtuse. I can remember when we were kids that this was not very clear to us, mainly also because English is not our mother tongue, so understanding what we had to do in this level was quite something back in the days when there was no internet, I guess. But yeah, it's actually very easy if you know what you're doing. But yeah, that would be a skip which would save about 15 seconds, but it's so inconsistent that it's not really worth doing. Yes. Then the next one is Barracks. It's just a simple military base where you have to shoot 5 raider dishes. 2 of them, the ones that Amen will be doing right now, can be done off screen. He uses as you have seen, he's already destroyed one. He uses an audio cue there to check if the dish was destroyed or not. Of course, because you again have to do a certain number of MacGuffins, I guess, in this level to reach the end. There's always the thing that you need to ensure that the route is optimized, clearly, which it should be. And in this case, Amen also picked up a health pickup to ensure that he has full health. This is needed in a little bit. Yeah, as you can see, the other radar dishes are not done off screen because that would actually be quite hard or yeah, not really save any time. There is another thing that Eamon is doing a few times in the run. He's zooming in this case to ensure to reduce visual lag and to ensure that the enemies to the behind the southern wall there cannot target him, so they won't shoot at him. And this means he can just, without any worries, face tank the boss and shoot its weak point. Yeah, it's gone down now. Shooting the door up. Yeah, last door, of course.
How convenient.
Yeah, how convenient. How lucky we've been there. Yeah, those were the barracks. Again, not really much there. It's just you need to know what you have to do to finish the level. That's general theme of the game. That's also one of the reasons why it got pretty bad reviews back then. It's just sometimes so obtuse and yeah, doesn't focus as much on action as it could have, which yeah was quite a bummer for some people back then, it seems. So this one is quite a doozy, I guess, this level. It's called Town. And yeah, the main thing here is these yellow elevators that you can see. They are scattered all around the level. And the main thing that you need to do there is you have to ensure that you get good cycles for them so that you can immediately walk on them, use them, because waiting for a cycle takes up a few seconds. The thing is, it might seem that they are that the cycles could be RNG based, but as pretty much everything in this game except for Sister Magpie Special, they are actually not RNG based, as are, for example, the enemies. Pretty much everything in this game is based on player movement, player location, which means that you trigger the each elevator's first cycle as soon as you get into a certain distance of it. Meaning that if you're off, for example, 1 millimeter of your usual or your planned route, of your optimal route, you might mess up the cycle and then have to wait a few seconds for the elevator to come down. Here, Eamon collected 2 key items to unlock the exit. Shoots this container to reveal an elevator. These containers are a little bit weird. Yeah, that was good. These containers are a little bit weird because we're still not really sure how their health works. Sometimes they don't even get hit. It's a little bit weird. As you can see here, these catwalks, Eamon is sometimes a little bit pitching around to get on them, mainly because they are quite inconsistent, or their hitboxes, I guess, are quite inconsistent, because sometimes even if you're 100% sure that you're fully on the catwalk, you might just fall through it. So it's weird, and yeah, pitching around a little bit and making sure that you're hitting the absolutely right spot there makes it a little bit safer. But yeah, of course, it then costs like a second or something. And here we are already done with the level. This level is takes actually quite a long time casually. But yeah, with this route, it's over pretty quickly. Okay, so now in the town, we've entered the foundry. As you might expect in the foundry, there is something that's molten down, and these are mainly gold. It's molten gold, contained in some pits, in containers in pits, or in smaller gold pots. So thing here is this level is in general quite based on traps and having to circumvent them or deactivate them. Oh, that would have been...
That would have been bad.
Yeah, that would have been bad. The thing here is, as you have seen, Amen activated the sprinkler back there to deactivate one of those gold pits. Here he walks on one of the gold pits without deactivating it, and using Death Abuse he can then just use the invulnerability time there to fully walk over the not deactivated pit there. So more or less a soft sequence break in the level, which he will be using a few more times there. Here he actually activates the sprinkler because using the Death Abuse wouldn't save time there, quite on the contrary. But the sprinklers are laid out in such a way that he can easily reach them without having to circumvent anything or do any backtracking or whatever. So most of these Death Abuses here save about like half a minute. The second larger Death Abuse later on saves even about 40 seconds. Here's another thing about this level: conveyor belts. We all love conveyor belts, I guess. And with moving gold pots that you need to avoid on them. And again, all this stuff is even also the gold pot movement is dependent on the player's location, so not RNG based again. But yeah, again, as I mentioned before, if you're just off 1 millimeter of your optimal route there, then you might mess up the cycles in such a way that you might lose several seconds. At least several seconds, I would say. The second Death Abuse, again, this one saves about 40 seconds. Quite nice. Now that he has all the key items, he can enter the boss area. As you've seen, he's in this level he's picked up quite a few weapon power-ups. He will be using them mainly later on in the run to quickly or relatively quickly dispose of a boss, which otherwise would be quite a hassle. And also it helps with this boss, and standing in this location that Amen used there, he could easily shoot at the boss, although it was off screen, without having to avoid its attacks, which are quite damaging and hard to avoid. Okay, so the next level, it's the monastery. It's
The bane of my existence.
exactly, yeah. It's the thing here is there are these dark robed monks, which are just normal enemies, I would say. But then there are also these white robed monks, which shoot these sonic waves out there, which you have to use these white robed monks to shoot at these crystal pillars, as you can see, so that they that you can use the crystal pieces that fall out of the pillars in these slots for these elevators to fully activate them to progress in the level. But the thing there is, again, these white robed monks are also not RNG dependent, fully dependent on the player's location. But still, it might sometimes happen that if you're just a millimeter off, then they get their mind, or it feels like they have the mind on their own and don't really shoot at the pillars anymore, or they might be shooting at the pillars, but might not be doing any damage to them. It's very weird, and yeah, we've still not really found a completely consistent way of doing it there. But yeah, this one was actually pretty fast. He got the crystal pieces relatively quickly. He got the good cycle for the elevator, he got immediately on it. And now he's entering this crystal maze in the monastery. Thing here is, it's just a simple maze, not really much to it. Except for, yeah, he will be trying to hug the walls, as you can see here. Because then the camera bends a little bit upwards, or even more upwards, and this reduces visual lag again. Yeah, so in this here he just needs to make sure that he's not being blocked by the enemies. There is another boss in this level, very easy one, where Amen just needs to stand beside it and shoot it. The boss can't even really do anything about it. The player character won't be hit as long as he's in such location, and or whatever. Okay, yeah. Sometimes the health of the bosses and their hitboxes, and when they take damage, it's a little bit weird. We still don't really fully understand it, I guess. But yeah, it's in any case, if you're using these strategies, it's quite okay. It's relatively consistent, I guess. Yeah. So now after we are done with these monks and yeah, one of these harder parts of the run, we've entered the catacombs. And in here it's just another simple maze, I guess. The main challenge here is just the boss at the end, which I will explain in a little bit. The thing here is, pretty soon Amen will be collecting another weapon power-up. Again, this will be used in a little bit later on in the run to quickly dispose of a boss. Here he just has to shoot a few minecarts. Another one will be coming out shortly. This one, instead of shooting, he opts to skip it again with, or skip it with this trick where you can just fidget through the side. A similar one will be used later on to skip a large portion of level of another level. Yeah, and the power-up should be coming.
I already got the power.
Ah, yeah, you got it. Sorry, I missed that. Okay, so yeah, power up there. Again, now the thing is, or just to explain it a little bit, needs to make sure when he has the power-ups that he doesn't die, because dying loses all your power-ups then. That would be quite a bummer, because he can really make good use of them later on in the run. So the boss here, it's a little bit weird. It's just Sadius, and to be able to shoot them, you need to stand on these platforms. But these platforms have funny mechanic. You can't see it, but they behave similar to conveyor belts, where they try to push you off. So Amen has to utilize strafe walking, or strafe shooting, more precisely. Ah, yeah, this one was actually really good. Yeah, to shoot while also making sure not to fall off these platforms, because they're pushing you off, right? That's it. The next one is the gallery. Again, as you've seen, this is quite a common theme in the game. It's another maze level. In this one, you really need to make sure that you don't get hit. Ooh, yeah, and that was worst case scenario, I guess. And sometimes you can't even really do anything about it. Thing here is, all the enemies in this level are melee based, and melee based enemies in this game have the tendency to pretty much usually one shot you. And as you've seen there, one hit and you're gone, even on easy difficulty. And this is quite a bummer if you're trying to preserve those important weapon power-ups for later on, because now Amen has lost all of them. That's why he also now picked up another one.
Yeah, that's a backup part.
Exactly. Usually you wouldn't even take it because it's a little bit out of the way, but yeah, in this case he had to, because he lost all of the other ones that he aggregated. Yeah, the boss was really easy, just face tanking, and the level is done. So yeah, still, although he now lost almost all of his weapon power-ups, this level should, the next level should still not pose too much of a threat. This is the one that I've more or less anticipating for quite some time, where the weapon power-ups will be used quite a lot. There's another one, as you've seen. So the thing here is, you have to, as you've seen, shoot these boxes, which reveals these mechs that you have to shoot. After these two mechs are gone, you go a little bit over in this level, over here, on this net, stand in a in a pretty precise position, which, as you can see, lifts you up a little bit, together with the submarine that submerges there. The thing is, using this technique, the game then, for whatever reason, registers you as out of bounds, and the other enemies, these jetpack enemies that you've seen shortly, cannot target you then. The same principle also applies here. You're hugging the wall there, which for some reason again registers you as out of bounds.
That was pretty solid.
It was pretty solid. Taking into account that he lost almost all of his weapon power-ups, he almost saved time even. That was pretty good. There was also no death in there, as I've seen, right?
Yeah, I got a great out of bounds on the boss,
Yeah.
on the submarine.
Yeah.
Deathless, great.
So pretty decent overall, despite the deaths before. Okay, now this level is also one of the more interesting ones in the run. Usually, if you would play casually, then this level would take very long in comparison to the others, because you have to. It's very obtuse, very convoluted. You have to teleport all over the place, get key items, do this, do that, whatever. Instead, AmenAnthem found this skip here, where he fidgets around to go over that slope there. And as you've seen, if you can't make it the first time, then the enemies are nice enough to just push you up the slope, which skips over 5 minutes even, which is quite a nice time save, because the rest of the level is would just be so annoying. And it's pretty much done then already. Now the second to last level. This is it's called Chess Chap. Again, Chap is the main antagonist of the game. It's, I guess, the secret evil layer of Chap or whatever. And it's again just a simple maze, nothing really to collect here. Just try to avoid the melee-based enemies again, because they deal quite a lot of damage. Try to circumvent them to not be blocked by them, to not lose too much time there. But yeah, dying doesn't really change much anymore because you don't need the weapon power-ups. Also, there was a boss in this level, which for whatever reason is not mandatory to be done. So we just skip it. And now, story-wise, the thing is, we are shrunken down now, and Chap, the main antagonist, is his usual size. And we will be running around on his body to place various or multiple bombs in various orifices and wounds of Chap to more or less finally dispose of this evil guy. And for this, on this right side, Amen picks up 3 bombs, and down here there are another 3. He would only optimally need 5 bombs, but the thing is, the game has a tendency to, for whatever reason, use up sometimes use up more bombs for the orifices. Here, as you can see, there's 1 bomb now in the orifice, in the wound. There's another one, and so on. But sometimes the game decides to use more bombs at once. And yeah, that's... okay, that's suboptimal, unfortunately. And if the game would decide to do that, then it might be that you are running out of bombs to put in the wounds. Which means you would need to get another one and get back there and do this whole thing again. And we are... Oops. Almost done. We are almost done.
Time is on when the ending cutscene starts.
Exactly, yeah. And there we go, it's time. That was actually quite a good run.
That was pretty solid.
It's just a little bit over 20 seconds of world record. Some levels were even pretty much optimal. But yeah, there's this usual stuff, the death with where he lost his weapon power-ups, which was a bummer. Could have been also better, but yeah, overall a very, very solid run, honestly.
It was good. Okay.
And I'd say that's actually it. The thing here is, it would actually be nice, or I'd like to kind of advertise actually for speedrunning this game. Because first of all, it needs some competition. Second of all, it would be nice if there were a few more people which could invest some time into optimizing the routes, the strats, and maybe find a few more skips in there, or find how to do a few of the skips more consistently. But yeah, overall, I would say that